Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into the world of C++, one of the most powerful and widely used programming languages out there. Whether you're new to coding or just want a quick refresher, this guide is perfect for you. So, let's get started. First off, what is C++? C++ is a general-purpose programming language that's great for systems programming, game development, and much more. It's super fast, and it's the backbone of many complex systems today. We'll walk through the basics step by step, so let's get coding. To run C++, a code editor is required. My personal favorite is CLion, which we are using in this video. However, CLion isn't free. It offers a 30-day free trial after which you can purchase it, which I have done. Another option is Visual Studio Code, which is free but requires some additional setup. Lastly, there's CodeAblocks, which is also free and ready to use. Now, let's get started. Open up your web browser and search for CLion. Go to the website and activate the 30-day free trial. If you want to buy it, you can, and I bought it. If you want to use Visual Studio Code, go to Extensions and search for C++ and install it and the install code runner. Now you need a compiler for Visual Studio. You can learn it by watching BroCode's video. You can also use code blocks. Let's begin with the classic Hello World program. In C++, every program starts with a main function. Type along with me. Let's break this down. #include_iostream is what allows us to print to the screen using std:\cout. The main function is the entry point of every C++ program. Don't worry about the details for now. We'll go deeper in future videos. Now that we've written our first program, let's talk about variables. Variables store data like numbers or text that we can use in our programs. In C++, we need to declare the type of data a variable will hold. Let me show you an example. We've created three different types of variables: an integer, a double for decimal numbers, and a char for characters. When we run the program, it prints their values. Let's move on to decision-making in C++ with if statements. They allow us to run code only if a certain condition is true. In this example, we check if the age is 18 or older. If true, it prints one message. If false, it prints another. Next up, we have loops. Loops let us repeat code multiple times. Let's create a loop that prints numbers from 1 to 5. A for loop consists of three parts: initialization, int I equals 1, condition I less than equals 5, and increment I plus plus. Each time the loop runs, the value of I increases until it reaches 5. Lastly, let's talk about functions. Functions allow us to organize our code into reusable blocks. Here's a quick example. We created a function called greet that prints a message. To use it, we just call greet in our main function. 1. Hello world. Hello world is a universal starting point in programming. It's a simple way to learn the basic setup needed to create and run a program. In C++, Hello World introduces you to output, where you instruct the computer to display the phrase Hello World on the screen. This basic exercise shows how to structure a C++ program. Open and close with brackets, and use special keywords to interact with the system. 2. Variables in programming. A variable is like a container that holds data, such as numbers or text, for later use. C++ uses different types of variables for different kinds of data. Integers, int, used to store whole numbers. Floating point float, double, used for numbers with decimal points. Characters char, used to store a single character like a letter or symbol. Boolean bool, stores a true or false value, often useful in decision making. Variables make your programs dynamic because you can assign values to them, change them, and use them in calculations or display. 3. Decision making. Decision making lets programs behave intelligently by allowing choices between actions. C++ uses conditions to determine what path to take. These conditions check if something is true or false and act accordingly. If statements only executes a block of code if a certain condition is true. For example, if it's raining, bring an umbrella. Else statements follows an if statement and handles what happens when the condition is false. Else if statements used when there are multiple conditions to check. Using these decision-making statements, you can create flexible programs that respond differently based on inputs or circumstances. For loops are used to repeat actions in a program. They're great for tasks that involve doing the same thing multiple times, like counting or processing items in a list. There are several types of loops in C++. For loop, used when you know exactly how many times you want to repeat an action. For example, you might use a for loop to count from 1 to 10, while loop continues to run as long as a certain condition is true. This type of loop is useful when the number of repetitions isn't known in advance. Do while loop, similar to a while loop, but it guarantees that the code runs at least once, even if the condition is initially false. Loops are essential for handling repetitive tasks efficiently and automatically. 5. Functions. Functions allow you to organize your code by grouping related actions. They're like mini programs within your program that can be called when needed. Functions make your code easier to read and reuse. Function definition. This is where you outline the task that the function will perform. Function call. When you want to execute the task, you call the function by its name. Parameters and return values. Functions can accept inputs, call parameters, and often return a value as a result of their task. For instance, a function might take two numbers as parameters and return their sum. By using functions, you can create modular code that's easy to maintain and expand. And that's it for today's introduction to C++. We covered a lot, from variables to loops and functions. Make sure to try out these examples on your own, and stay tuned for more advanced tutorials. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more programming content. See you in the next video.